made everything beautiful in its time, and also he has put eternity in their hearts, except that no one can find out the work that God does from beginning to end. There is a time, a season for every purpose under heaven that God sets forth. But the key is that it's beautiful in its time, in its season. And if we try to bring a thing to pass and bring a thing to be before it's really ready, it's gone through the preparation or the incubation or all of the things that need to happen, and we try to bring it to pass, it's not going to be a beautiful thing. Even the difficult times in their season can be beautiful if we choose to see them that way. Because we know that it's beautiful in its time, and it's time if God is declaring that we go through it and that we walk through it right now. But when pleasure itself is pursued, it's an endless pursuit. But when God's presence is the ultimate pursuit, that's when the Psalm 16:11 joy is found. The beauty of the things and the pleasure are just a result of treating that time with God and that being in His presence and that relationship and that fellowship with Him as the ultimate priority. And he says it's a heart for eternity. And I believe that that's very much that heart for God, that heart for the eternal things, the things that the Father would have for us to do and that He would want to do through us. But if we don't have a heart for eternity, we can miss a beautiful thing when it's in its season because we're not seeing it for what it is. Abiding in His presence produces a rhythm of grace that we walk in and that we flow in, and fruit is just bore out of us in our lives continuously, regardless of what season it is. Makes no difference. That's meant to be in an everyday, ongoing, constant thing. You know, just some things that I have learned in going through that transition and coming out of a place and going into a place that I think are just so important, and I know I'll take with me wherever I go. The way you come out of a place is equally important, if not more important, than how you walk into a place and how you arrive there. You are to walk out and arrive in excellence. You are to have favor with men where you were and where you're going. And if the way you put your hand to something to speed up or slow down, whatever the things that God is doing in the transition, if the way you put your hand to it causes you to not have favor with men and for your influence to begin to be compromised, that should be a surefire sign to you that somewhere along the line you've just gotten a little bit off course, or you've gotten a little bit out from under that cloud that was resting or moving and you didn't go. Does what you will do carry weight with those that you've passed by to get there? Because when you arrive, that's not going to be your last stop either. There's a continuous process of changing and transition in our lives and the seasons of our lives, right? We see our kids grow up. You know, I think about my kids and the way that they love on their dad and the way they snuggle and cuddle, and man, it just, I don't think I could really even talk too much about it. It just gets me so choked up, you know, and I think about how those things are just a short window of time. Short. Just a couple years maybe that I have for that. I'm just cherishing it and enjoying it while it's here. But you know, as that thing comes to an end, there'll be a whole new beautiful thing in its season when those kids begin to have more heartfelt conversation with their dad, and we have a different relationship, and we do new things and different things together. And that will be beautiful in its time, just as the things are now. We just don't want to be in a hurry to pass by. And they're always going to be things